Hey, Extratime fans! Welcome to a new space here on my YouTube channel. You've seen me in my Instagram profile on Extratime Sports. You know, we came with another logo, kind of a refreshment. Like in order to talk about the series of this sports that we are talking about every single time. And today Sunday, we just finished the first part of the NBA season, the regular season, and now we're going to the big stuff. The big stuff, you know. Today we just decided which teams just were planned in the different seats around the brackets in the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference in order to know which team is going to take it or going to make it to the NBA Finals. So I'm going to tell you the results. I'm going to tell you a little bit of analysis of what happened today. And after, I'm going to give you my predictions. So remember, we have a hashtag over here or here. I think both in I don't know in which side, but you can find it. NBA Playoffs 2025. You can comment on that and everything in that hashtag. So let me just start with the results that we had today on Sunday. We have the matches from the Eastern Conference that was already decided. The the teams that already went to the playoffs and also had the playing tournament in order to if you are watching the analysis from another reporters and all that kind of stuff, they are they and me are going to agree on something. It's that the Cleveland Cavaliers are one of the teams to beat. Listen to me, teams to beat here on the or higher. Actually, they are a career high in the G League. For those who don't know, the G League is like the B in the NBA. And unfortunately, the Lakers didn't make it with the young people that could help Luka Doncic and LeBron James in these NBA playoffs in which they held the third seed. The Timberwolves just beat the Jazz and they secure a playoff spot. Also, the Thunder that were the first team in order to secure the spot in the next phase. They beat the Pelicans 150-100. The Mavericks lost against the Grizzlies, a poor campaign for the Dallas franchise and the Grizzlies that made it to the playing tournament, and they are going to face a really difficult team. We are going to look it up later. The Kings beat the Suns with Kevin Durant that actually they couldn't make it even to the playing, even to the playoffs. They were having a really, really good start in the season, but in the end, it just fell down, and they were unable to develop the great level that they showed before, and they lost the last matches of this regular season. The best match, in my perspective, and the one that was playing for a really, really good stuff was the Warriors against the Clippers. Both teams were trying to have or secure a spot in the playoffs directly, trying to avoid the playing tournament, and we're going to look wide. But they were I think, the only match in the whole fixture that we have today that went to overtime. And unfortunately for the Warriors, they lost against the Clippers, and they have to go to the playing tournament first in order to go to the playoffs, and then looking forward to playing the finals in the future. The Spurs and the Raptors, they weren't playing for anything else, just to be in a really good spot at the end of the Western Conference standings, and the Rockets that were already in the playoffs against the Nuggets. The Nikola Jokic team just beat the team from Houston. So that was, or that were the whole matches, the whole fixture that we were looking at this Sunday. That actually it was a really, really good Sunday because, we were waiting for this. The fans were waiting for this, and we're going to look at some specific matchups that we have just seen today. Okay, so thank you everyone that it's watching this video, watching this live. Um, Let me just take a moment to share it with you guys. Remember, NBA playoffs 2025. It's a really, really good material, because we are going to talk about and analyze everything that happened in this regular season. Well, at the end of the regular season, because you know that we are really going to the next phase in this season that actually started last year in October. We have plenty of matchups. We have a lot of good stuff. We actually had one of the biggest trades in NBA history, Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers. We had a lot of stuff, and it was like one surprise before everything started to define or to be completed for the next phase. And it was the moment that Michael Malone just left the Denver Nuggets, and we're going to see why. Because they are already in the playoffs, but they have to start looking forward in order to see if the head coach that they have are the really good stuff they need in order to accomplish another championship that they made it with Malone 2 or 3 years ago. So I'm going to share with you guys in order to you to enter to this. Let me just share with you. Okay, now we are okay. So I'm going to wait a little bit in order to see if the people um, start coming, in order to interact, in order to see, in order to understand, because one of the main or the first topics of this channel is to make people understand what the game is about. It's something that actually LeBron James was talking about on his YouTube channel, that he shares something really special with Luka Doncic in the way they understand the game, and they want the people to understand what the game is all about. And it's about playing, it's about to enjoy it, it's about to be competitive, but not in the bad way, in the way that you start cheating or something like that. No, it's really, really special. So I hope that you guys with this channel can do or can understand the same stuff that I was talking about. So let me just share it here on this page. And we're going to start with the analysis of these playoffs and the playing tournament really that we are going to see really, really good matches. So let me just share it with you. And we are set. We are set to go. Okay. So now let's start, because it's live and you have to take care of certain stuff before starting. Thank you for the people that it's starting to connect. You can share it with your friends. You can talk to me in the chat. I'm going to pay attention to that. I'm going to answer some questions if you have those. And we are going to start right now. So after we just seen the whole picture of what happened today, we're going to analyze certain matchups that were played today. And why are going to do that? Because we're going to be playing the playing tournament in just a couple of days, April 15th. And there is going to be really, really good matchups. But first, let me talk about a really, really good match that I already told you, the Clippers against the Warriors. They were like fighting for something really, really big. They were fighting for like a lot. And if you take a look, they already secure a spot in the playoffs. But the thing is that they had to avoid the play-in, because in the case of the Warriors that they lost against the Clippers, they had to play another two matchups if they want to go to the playoffs. Okay, so now they are going to face the Memphis Grizzlies. They were actually even in the stands, and the Clippers actually had it really difficult because they have to go and play with the Denver Nuggets in the first round of the playoff picture. But we're going to look it up more later. So I'm going to talk about this matchup because it was like pretty cool. It was pretty excited. As I told you, it was the only game in the last part of the Sunday matchups uh, that went to the overtime, and they were playing like really, really cool. As you can see in the image, 124, 119, it was like just a couple of points away. James Harden was having the time of his life today, playing with playing for almost the whole matchup. 39 points scored, 7 rebounds, 10 assists against a Stephen Curry that actually was playing better than other matchups before this one, with 36 points scored, 3 rebounds captured, and 6 assists delivered. It was a matchup in which Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, and Stephen Curry showed that they wanted so badly to go to the playoffs directly because they're going to face a really, really tough opponent that we are going to look at later. And the Clippers were trying to secure that that mentality in which them they were having like really really good season, and before the season even start, there were a lot of people talking about them. They were saying like, no, we are not going to watch the Clippers in the next phase. We are not going to watch the Clippers in the playoffs. They're going to be out of the play of the playing tournament, and they are now facing the Denver Nuggets, one of the teams, the most difficult teams if you want to look it up for the players. But as I already told you, Michael Malone, his head coach for more than 10 years, was just fired. And it was like a personal stuff, with the general manager. But even though it was like really, really surprising, it was as surprising as the Luka Doncic trade, you know, just in the level of surprise, but not in the level of to expect that. Because of course, Luka Doncic going to the Lakers was the biggest thing that happened. Even Jimmy Butler going to the Warriors was a really good stuff. But Luka Doncic going and delivering the way he's delivering, it was like amazing and spectacular. And watch out for the Clippers, because they were 50-32 in the regular season. They started like a little bit confused, without Kawhi Leonard. They just have James Harden. They just have Ivica Zubac, but he wasn't playing the way he played in the last part of the regular season. Even though with his performance, the Clippers now have the opportunity to have the defensive player of the year with Ivica Zubac. Also, it was decisive that the Clippers just brought, um, they just brought Bogdan Bogdanovic, a teammate in Serbian team with Nikola Jokic. He's a hell of a player, and he really helped the team to go through the difficult times with or alongside Norman Powell, that he was playing like a really, really good basketball. Actually, he could be awarding with the comeback player of the year. So that was like the whole panorama for both teams. We're going to watch later what is going on with the Warriors, but the Clippers have a really, really difficult matchup against the Denver Nuggets, and we are going to expect that on April 19th. But let's go to the next one because we're going to talk about the rival of the Warriors in the playing tournament, Memphis Grizzlies, with Ja Morant. You know Ja Morant, you know him, you know that he likes to dunk, but in the same way he doesn't like to dunk, you know. But in this case, if we take a look at the stats, because they were playing against the Dallas Mavericks, one of the teams that actually is going to be playing in the playing tournament. They were the team of Luka Doncic, and they were like they're in a really really bad spot because they lost identity. They lost the way they want to play because their main topic, their main star, their main player just went away. And Doncic was aware of that and he was surprised of that. And you can see that in the score or in the latest scores from the Dallas Mavericks. Look at the record, 39-43, when they were like in the opposite way, like a couple of weeks ago. They were having like really, really good big wins. And suddenly, without Doncic, everything fell apart. They weren't without Kyrie Irving. They were without Anthony Davis when he was traded from the Lakers. But in the last part of the season, they tried to like place those pieces together, but unfortunately, that didn't happen, and they lost against the Grizzlies as you can see, as Daniel Gafford was the best player in the Mavericks because they were having like really difficult time with the injuries. They were struggling a lot. And in the other hand, the Grizzlies with Lamar Stevens, 31 points and 6 rebounds captured and 3 assists. Well, the Grizzlies with the 48-34 record are going to face the Warriors, and we are going to predict that because I would like to predict that. I'm going to listen to read it to you too. Um, okay, so the Grizzlies made it work, made the homework. They just won what they need to win, and now they are going to try to go to the playoffs to maybe doing like really difficult for the rest of the teams that are already in there. Let's talk about the Denver Nuggets that they faced the Houston Rockets that they were in the second seed of the Western Conference, and with a team that with Nikola Jokic, it's like what can you expect of a team with Nikola Jokic, one of the front runners for the MVP, alongside Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from the Oklahoma City Thunder. As he didn't score like a really great amount of points with only 18, 7 rebounds captured and 7 assists, he just like 3 or 2 games ago, he was scoring like more than 60 points. It was actually a career high. So if we are going to expect something about a team and a player, it's Nikola Jokic, And if you rush me, maybe he is going to be the MVP for the regular season. If you have a different opinion, you can leave it in the comments. You can leave it in the chat, and I'm going to read it to you in order to see what is or what will go with this series and these playoffs that are going to start like just this week. They beat the Houston Rockets, Houston Rockets that, in my opinion, they were having like a really good last part of the season. They made their homework too, 52-3 in the record, and Amen Thompson that came uh, from the a difficult and a struggling performance to being one of the candidates for the Rookie of the Year. So we have to look it up, and it was a really good match to watch because the Denver Nuggets started to show what they got going to the playoffs. Okay, and the last one that we're going to talk about, it's the game about the Utah Jazz and the Minnesota Timberwolves with Anthony Edwards playing really good basketball. Utah Jazz that actually was one of the worst teams in the regular season, just a 1765 record. Like if you play 82 games in the whole season and you lost 65, it's like, what are you doing? Like you have to start looking for some stuff. You have to start looking for some alternatives because Utah Jazz has history here in the NBA. They don't have like a lot of titles, but they were really good back then in the 90s. They were like trying to like trying to get a position in the best teams of the league, but nowadays they are like the team that you can beat. And sometimes you don't know how they get like 17 wins. Like what is that? And you, on the other hand, see a Timberwolves, a Minnesota team that actually went like from the lowest performance to the greatest performance. Anthony Edwards, like just in this match, look at this guy. 43 points scored, 6 rebounds captured, and 5 assists. Is one of the teams to beat in the next phase, and we are going to look it up right now because we are going to look it up at the whole picture. We are going to look it up at the whole bracket. What is going on with this? Look at this. Like west side, east side, the playing tournament in both sides, and in the middle, the first round with the teams already placed. You know, it's going to be really, really emotional for some people, for the fans, of course, and actually for the people that doesn't like really much the NBA because you gotta see the talent. You're not going to see only the teams like the Lakers, like the Golden State Warriors. You know, they will need to show everyone around in the NBA world that they are going to make it to the finals, and in that way they will have to beat really, really difficult teams in the next round. So let me just look it up. Okay, so we have here the playing tournament in both sides, the West and the East. In the West, the Dallas Mavericks, that in the last moment they just got into the playing tournament against the Sacramento Kings, a team that actually it's going to be difficult to predict this one, but I don't know. I'm going with the Mavericks. You know, like the Mavericks are going to beat the Kings. You know, maybe within this new opportunity that they have in order to go to the playoffs, maybe they will change their minds because they have a lot of people in the injury reports. They have a lot of people um, like not having the best time of the life of their careers right now and in the regular season, but they got talent. They got Clay Thompson. They got Anthony Davis. You know, if those guys are in the right place, they are going to be a really, really difficult team for the Oklahoma City Thunder that it's going to wait for the winner of this matchup. And like down of the bracket, we are going to watch a really, really, really good matchup between the Golden State Warriors and the Memphis Grizzlies. In my personal opinion, I believe that the Warriors will not have any trouble beating the Memphis. You know, just to you to remember that this playing tournament is going to be just one game. It's just one game. Like if you win this, you go to the playoffs. If you don't win, you're out of the conversation. You made it to the playing tournament. That's a really good stuff, you know. But you know, it it is like from 15 teams that are in each conference, you are the 10th one. Like from 1 to 10, have the opportunity to go to the playoffs. But you know, it's also a motivation to you. Like if you're in a playing tournament and you have one game in order to show the people around you in the NBA world that you have a team to compete, well, that's the moment to do it. So in this case, I'm going with the Warriors. They have Butler, they have Draymond Green, they have Stephen Curry, they have Botsiemski. Uh, well, I don't know. It's like they have the talent, you know. Steve Kerr has been like really, really criticized because the way of the Warriors were playing in the last part of the regular season, they actually are in a losing streak of 3 games, and they were actually pretty close to not being in the playoffs, even in the playing tournament. But thanks to the other guys, thanks to the other teams, they were able to have this only opportunity to beat the Memphis Grizzlies, a team that actually was like they weren't like the best team or they weren't having like the best performance, but you know they were a team that with Jamoran they were different. They they thought different, and they show it to some really, really difficult teams in the Western Conference. And in that way, you can see that the record was 48 wins, you know? And that's not really, really bad at all. For a team of his caliber, with the players that they have, I think it's going to be a really, really good match. But in this case, I'm going with the Warriors. And in the Eastern Conference, we have like the Bulls and the Heat playing in one of the sides. It's going to wait the Cavaliers, and in the other one are the Magic and the Hawks playing like they were playing in the last game of the regular season. They're going to meet up again. And well, in one hand, I think the Bulls are getting even stronger. Miami Heat was really, really, they had a really, really difficult time with Jimmy Butler. They they were struggling a little bit, but actually after they defeat Jimmy Butler and the Warriors, they started to look it up seriously. Like Adebayo was playing really good, Tyler Hero was playing good, um, but the Bulls are trying their best with ball, and I think it's going to be a really, really good matchup. And I think the Bulls are going to face the Cavaliers as the eighth seed after winning against I believe, the Orlando Magic with Paulo Banchero, Franz Beckner. I believe those guys can make really, really the difference. Trajan could make a surprise, but he was a guy during the regular season that had ups and downs, like every single player. But the ups were in really specific matchups, and the downs were in really important matchups. And in that way, you have to be serious, like you have to be clear, you have to, like, I don't know, like your mind has to blow a little bit in order to accomplish this only opportunity. So in this way, what will happen next? Like these four matchups are going to be played from April 15 to April 16. The winners of these matchups are going to a next phase. They're going to face like the winner from the Kings and Mavericks. In this case, that I choose the Mavericks will play against the Grizzlies. That it's the loser, and the winners the winner of the matchup against the Warriors and the Grizzlies, it's going to be playing in the seventh seed. In this case, against the Houston Rockets. And in my case, the Golden State Warriors and the Rockets will face in the first round. The Mavericks and the Grizzlies will have to play another game in order to see which team is going to face the Oklahoma City Thunder. I don't think it's the team that you want to face in this regular season, specifically because they were on fire, like on fire. 68-14 the record. They just lost 14 matchups. And Chadidios Alexander was one of the only players that scored like 4 or more points, 40 or more points in almost the whole regular season. It was like a mind blowing. And in the other hand, in the East, we have the same situation. The Bulls and the Heat are going to play. And in this case, if the Bulls pass, they're going to face the loser between the Magic and Hawks. That in my case are the Hawks. And the Magic will be placed against the Boston Celtics. And the winner from the Bulls and the Hawks are going to be placed in the eighth seed against the Cleveland Cavaliers with that record that you can see over there, 64-18. And if you look it up, like in the last part, like the Celtics 61-21, and they are actually the reigning champions. So, well, what we're going to see, it's pretty intense. And after the April 15 tournament playing, we are going to have the first round of the playoffs that are going to begin on April 19. I'm going to tell you like which matchups are already set. The Denver Nuggets against the Los Angeles Clippers. Indiana Pacers against the Milwaukee Bucks, the Los Angeles Lakers against the Minnesota Timberwolves, New York Knicks against the Detroit Pistons, one of the real surprises in this regular season, and those are going to be the four matchups that are we already know that you can start looking up on your statistics. If you are like a gambler or something like that, you can look it up because the first round it's going to be played by the end of this week. Okay, so I think for today that's all for today. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for taking a little bit of your moment, a little bit of your time to understand what is going on, to understand what is happening next in the NBA. And thanks so much, Lina Joya Castillo. Go Celtics. Okay, let's see what will happen with the Celtics. To me, they are really, really good candidates. You know, they are like stronger ones, and we are going to see that in the next couple of weeks. And okay, so thank you very much for being here. Remember, you can share it with your friends. This is going to be on my YouTube channel. And see you next time.